Welcome to Hard in a Fight. My name is Daniel. This is my co-host Omar. Thank you for tuning in. This episode, we are going to be bringing closure to two spectacular fights by two spectacular fighters, Shinigami and Streetbender. We know that we were able to do a recap in the first fight with Shinigami. This time, we figured now that they have resolved it and there's a clear winner, now we can bring them both on to talk about their fight and kind of the legacy they set behind with their two really tough fights. So with that, we'll bring them on.
Welcome back to the show. We have the heavyweight MMA champ on the West Coast, Shinigami, and his two-time opponent, Streetbender. Welcome to the show for the first time, Streetbender.
Thank you.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah, so you guys are just coming off another stellar performance, another grueling back and forth fight. How do y'all feel right now?
A little banged up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but I actually got a bruise from him trying to kick me in the head. It's been bugging me. I can't put my arm on nothing.
Yeah. My foot hurts.
Yeah. Did you walk away with more bruises and wounds this time around than the first fight, or was it vice versa? Oh, did you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was putting my life into everything on those strikes. So, yeah.
And so tell us, like, now that you went through your first fight, you just finished your second fight. I mean, what has that experience been? Like, have you found that your relationship has gotten deeper as just fighters, being in a cage for so long?
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, it was always like really respectful. Like, even before I knew I was gonna fight him, like I talked to him on Messenger. But yeah, as time went on, it's like, yeah, me and Shinigami know way too much about each other.
Yeah, this guy's the reason I went and unlisted all my old tournament videos, man. I had to, because he was like, after the first fight we talked, and he was like, yeah, man, I watched all your old tournament videos, helped me formulate a game plan. I was like, okay. Didn't think about that one.
Streetbender, can you elaborate on that a little bit? What was it, going back and looking at old Shinigami's tournament videos, that footage, what was it that you were looking for, or what was it that you found in those footages that helped you prepare for this fight?
Well, I mean, because going into that first one, all I really had was, the detail and Storm Rider, where it really doesn't. All it shows you is that he has some skills, and you don't want to get touched by some stuff. But I didn't really know, like, where is he? I could capitalize on stuff, and he has like 10 years worth of stuff, so you can see it was like his growth, from like when he's my age all the way up to now. So I saw him progress in some areas, and then I just saw some habits that it's kind of hard for him to break. I mean, the YouTube comments get it, and even sometimes in the fight, it's just like if you pressure him real hard and you're hitting him with some hard shots, it's hard for him to stay square and try to fight. He always like turns away a little bit. So I mean, to me, I especially before the first fight, I'm like, okay, he doesn't like to be hit. If you hit him hard enough, like, he's just gonna quit. I found out that's not the case, but he definitely still, that's like a little bit of it there. And then with his jiu-jitsu, because he has a bunch of those videos too. Obviously I underestimated it, but he kind of just like takes his time. He doesn't really go for anything too drastic. He'll let it drag out, So I thought, with it being 2-minute rounds, that as long as I don't get on that ground at the beginning of a round, I should be able, because I'm just a white belt, you know what I mean? I don't really have a good jiu-jitsu, but I'm a wrestler, so I can scramble, I can fight stuff off. But yeah, I mean, props to him, because he hit that thing quick. But yeah, so I would say those are the two things I really saw from the video. Is just in the firefight, like, he's gonna be the first to turn away, and on the ground, like, he's not very urgent with trying to get submission. So I thought I'd be able to survive to stand up to the next round. So, but yeah,
wow,
good luck to the other opponents.
No, certainly. I mean, that's quite the studying you did, man. That's pretty impressive. So Shinigami, I mean, now hearing your opponent say this, right? Streetbender say, hey, here's the things that I picked up from your videos. I'm curious to know, like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm still not used to getting hit in the head hard. That's still something I'm not used to, or not used to anymore. Working on getting used to that again, because it's been a while since I trained for full contact, like years. And before last time I trained for it for like 2 years before I tried to do anything that was like before I trained for that amateur fight where I got my knee busted out training for it. I've been taking, training to take hits for like a year and a half. Here I am with like 3 weeks to get used to this guy's power. I mean, that overhand right was mean. That's why I was trying to avoid it in the first fight. And yeah, definitely. Usually I do take my time, but I usually also have longer rounds when I'm taking my time on the ground. So I definitely knew that I had to do it a little faster. But one thing people don't see from tournament videos versus when you train, like we do 6-minute rounds, right? And depending on who I'm with and what position I get, I'll get like 5 or 6 submissions on a guy in class in a round, depending on who I'm going with. And that's way less than 2 minutes each submission. So, and with this guy, since I knew he was a wrestler, like the first round of that second fight, when I got the mount, I didn't want to stay there because I didn't want him to bridge me off. That's why I transitioned to that arm triangle to the side, because I didn't want to just try to get it from the top and get rolled over. Definitely had some respect for this man's pedigree that he told me he had as far as what his base is. So, I didn't want to get into big long scrambles either in 2 minutes, because that's a lot of energy too. I was trying to just in case save my energy for like my real energy for the 4th and the 5th.
Yeah, I would love for both of you to, because it seems like you're hinting at it, right? Some of the game plans that you both came into the second fight, and so I would love for you to tell us, well, was there a switch in game plan going to the second fight, or was there just an emphasis on certain things you wanted to do the second time around?
Well, for me, I don't know, kind of, because a lot of that first fight, there was a lot of cage work. Definitely in my first fight game plan, I'm thinking he's going to try to kick my head off or, use his jiu-jitsu, so be on the ground. I didn't really think about that transition period, so that's why I was like a little like didn't know what I was doing when he was like pressuring me on that cage. So I actually worked a lot of that until I found out there was no cage at all. And I'm like, oh shit. So that's when I started, adjusting it a little bit, but I was still trying to work on, I knew he's either all the way in or all the way out, so I was trying to make sure I had the right hand positions for when we did do some clinching and stuff. I definitely messed up that third round, but before that I was doing the right stuff, head under chin, getting both those underhooks, trying to get a tight body lock. But I kind of just had not so much a game plan, but I just wanted to have an answer for wherever the fight went, because I felt like last time there was a lot of like, I'm learning on the job, and like, it was my first fight. So, that's going to happen. But yeah, I just wanted to fix those type of mistakes. One thing that I game planned that I did not do that made me so mad. It was actually when I tried to head kick him and hurt my foot, was when he does that turning weight position. I just wanted to box him up, body, head, head, body. And instead I just was going for those one hitter, just, trying to take him out of there. And that's not how you're going to beat Shinigami. So, but I'll know for the future. So.
Yeah, I mean, I had a game plan too, and I kind of had the same problem. We were training for cage work, and just improving my cage work. And then like about a week before, with like 1 week left, we found out there was no cage. So
yeah, I think I told you. You're like, there's a cage. I was like, no, there's not.
Yeah. So what ended up, or like there was originally supposed to be, but it ended up not happening. But yeah, so I had to adjust my game plan a lot too, and I botched mine a little bit too. I actually had expected him to not improve his hand timing as much as he did. That was actually part of my strategy too, was doing the rematch as quick as possible, because sometimes you win the fight before, or you figure out your advantages before, So I figured if we do this with 3 weeks, he's kind of green. And I didn't want to get because those hands would have put me away the first time. I mean, like I've said numerous times, I just was all fatigued and felt like crap for some reason last minute. So that whole first fight was me just hanging on for dear life. And the only thing that saved me was all the experience I had. That's why I was clinching him up so much instead of, trying to strike him. And I was trying to kick his head off, and I'm sure he knew that. My timing was so bad, and he knew it was coming, so he knew when to lean. So our whole plan originally was get him against the cage and drop for a double and just drag him to the ground and then work the TKO or get a submission in. And then that just turned into get him on the ground and get the submission because he's tough, man. Even though I felt I was off my game last time, I definitely hit him with a few shots and I could tell I rocked him at least 3 times just by his body language. And he came back quick. He came back real quick, and I didn't want to sit there and try to KO him in the pocket because I didn't want to get put away that way. So, main game plan was get him to the ground and try to submit him as quickly as possible, and then when the championship rounds hit, really put the gas on standing up.
Yeah, go ahead, Danny.
Oh yeah,
No,
I was gonna say. I mean, does the hay bales do anything for y'all? Because it seems like sometimes people can use it as an advantage, or it also acts as a disadvantage because people are tripping over them.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. I was kind of anytime he pushed me into him, I was kind of like tripping over him.
But can you work that into your strategy? I would imagine as fighters, like you're looking at those things and you're saying, okay, if I just push someone on there, it'll at least give me an opportunity to slide a punch here and there as they are falling back.
Well, yeah, no, when I try to hit that, head kick, I was trying to get my detail kick on Shinigami. That was when he's kind of like falling into that hay, and then he was trying to like get back up, and I was like, oh, no one's breaking us apart. All right, well, I'm gonna get something in while he's trying to come back. And
we see what
he was ready for it.
Would be, Daniel.
Hey, if I ever got in the ring, which I will not, I did too many injuries, and y'all just too bold for me. So for one, is like I'm thinking about everything. If everything is fair, I'm like, all right, hay bale, I'm pushing this dude over the hay bale, and as soon as he's trying to get back up, I'm striking. So I hear that.
Yeah, that's smart.
That's certainly where you off your game. Shinigami, I wanted to ask you a question because we know for those folks who are watching this and have seen the fight already, most of the fight ended, right? And where you actually shined in this fight was on the ground. Something that we hadn't seen in your previous 2 fights, previous 3 fights, really. There was sometimes spin on the ground, but not like this one, right? This one, you certainly showed that you had some tricks underneath your sleeve, right? That you had some jiu-jitsu. You went for that head and arm choke initially when you first landed on the ground. You got the mount relatively easy. And then you ultimately ended up finishing him with the key lock or an Americana. And so how much of your jiu-jitsu that you worked leading up to this fight? We know that you did some cage work, but was jiu-jitsu also something that you anticipated being able to lean on going into this fight with Streetbender?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, like I kind of just said, like personally, even though the game plan, kind of was to get him to the ground, one of the reasons that we even did that in the first place was because I knew that if I couldn't, outstrike him quick, which didn't happen at all, my best option for beating him was going to be on the ground because, like I said, this dude is just tough. He can tank a shot and come back. Even if it's thrown him for a loop, he just comes right back. So I knew that was my best option. And I mean, I've mostly been doing jiu-jitsu this year anyway, more than anything else because of everything going on and just the way things have been going. That's like the only thing I really have available. So I mainly knew that was probably going to be my ace in the hole, was to show what that blue belt do,
You did that.
For you, first of all, I was curious, how tight was that initial choke, that head and arm choke? Because at one point it looked like he had it, like he had like the position, but obviously he didn't get it. So how tight was that? And generally, you heard me mention that it seemed like he got the mount relatively easy at some point, and just any position he wanted on the ground. How did it feel having Shinigami on top of you, and how was that? How tight was that head and arm choke?
It doesn't feel great. That man is a big man, and there's a lot of stuff that I work on. Like, I'm a white belt, but I'm a very like cerebral fighter. So especially from that last fight when he had it on top of me, and a lot of people are saying, even though he wasn't hitting me hard and he was like fatigued, so he couldn't really stop me, everyone's like, well, Streetbender wasn't advancing his position, so they should have got a TKO there, so that was something where I'm like, okay, for sure, I gotta fix that part of my game. And so I definitely anticipated him getting on that side control again, and so that's a lot of people's go-to there is they're gonna try to hit that arm triangle and stuff like that. It was pretty tight, but I'm pretty good at just like squeezing just enough that I control my breathing and I stay really calm, and it's really hard to put me to sleep like that. So I felt pretty safe there. I'm sure if he adjusted, he could have got it that way too. I watched the fight. He chose to, not to commit to that and, get that position. He definitely got that mount easy, and that's because I was using all of my mental energy to not get put to sleep. You know what I mean? So I was just focusing on doing what I was taught to like get that space and get the breath. What I really wanted to do is, slip that head out, get to the back. But yeah, he's too big. He's got good positioning. I noticed that even when I had his ankle and his leg, a lot of people, I can usually just suck that leg in and just come around the side. But he was good at posting that arm to where it's not even just his weight, but also just the way that he placed himself. It was like, it took me everything to have to like drag him around through the mat to get actually in a good position on that one.
Yeah, I would love for you, Streetbender, to talk about. I know that you were working with Kilo, right? And is it the Blessed team? Is that the name of the squad?
Blessed Boys Fight Team.
Okay, yeah, Blessed Boys Fight Team.
Yep.
And so, what's it like working with Kilo? And it seems like, Kilo was all over that video. I feel like it was featuring three of y'all: Shinigami, Streetbender, and Kilo. Kilo was in every single frame, like trying to give you advice as you're fighting. And so I'm curious, what has it been like for you to work with another Streetbeefs fighter like Kilo, and did it help going into this fight?
Yeah, it definitely helped, and it's kind of crazy. Streetbeefs is such a like awesome community. Almost like, well, actually, all the people from the fight team, it really just came from being on Streetbeefs Westcoast, being like, hey, we're in the same area. Let's meet up. Let's do some sparring. Nobody tried knocking each other's heads off, but we always got like really good work in. And over the time, Kilo's just become like a really solid dude. Yeah, he was like the only corner I had for that fight. And man, it was funny. Someone had to tell him like, hey, dude, you can't walk all the way around the hay no matter where your opponent's at. Because he was trying to, his face was all the way in there. But he definitely helped me like what I just mentioned before when I was trying to suck that leg in and try to circle around. Like, he's just yelling, grab the knee. I'm like, oh yeah, Kilo, good shit. I need that. So I just, it was perfect. And then like what Shinigami was saying earlier, where he said my hand speed got better and stuff like that. Kilo actually hooked me up with his coach, Brito, Daniel Brito. He has like Brito MMA, and yeah, he was sick. I didn't get to work with him a lot, but he cleaned up my boxing. He cleaned up my striking. Definitely had a lot of improvements with only a little time to do it. So yeah, I'm definitely real grateful for Kilo. And he definitely did a lot to get me ready for this one.
Yeah, I gotta give props to whoever improved your kick defense, because I've been limping for like 2 days because my left ankle is all swollen from you checking those kicks or counter kicking my kicks there.
Oh yeah.
And Shinigami, there was a funny moment as you two were grappling on the ground, and Kilo was like hanging over the hay, like yelling instructions. And there was a moment where you looked at him. I don't know if you were cognizant of that, but you were looking at Kilo like, what is going on? So I'm curious to know, like, what was your thoughts as Kilo was like yelling instructions? Because he wasn't like standing up, like he was leaning over.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even honestly remember that. I don't even know that I was looking directly at him. I was kind of just I don't even know. When I fight, I mean that's actually kind of been part of the learning experience here too, is being able to listen to a coach at the same time as I'm fighting, because I'm used to just focusing on the guy I'm fighting and not having a corner. Because in karate tournaments, you don't get to have a guy coaching you while you're fighting. So I don't know, man. I think I was focusing more on the fight and listening to my jiu-jitsu instructor, who was in my corner. Yeah, I honestly don't even remember that, to be completely honest with you. I don't remember seeing anything except for this man over here and the ring itself.
All right. So if you have a chance to go back in that video and you'll see, like, you're looking dead at him. I feel like
Someone make a
pretty
meme.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a perfect meme. There has to be something that you were thinking as you were looking directly at him. It was the funniest thing. I just so happened to pause it and to see y'all looking at each other.
That's funny.
I'll have to check it out.
So what's next? What's next for y'all? You had this huge fight. Everyone, I mean, I think everyone can say that they love both the fights. And so what's next for both of you? We know that Streetbender, you called out the light heavyweight champion, the Canadian. Is that the move?
Yeah, that's the move. And I mean, right now, the way I look at it, he has more wins than me in MMA right now. So what I'm trying to do is, Canadian talked about he really wants to be like getting as many belts from as many yards, as many weight classes as he can. So me, I kind of look at it like Shinigami helped me out. He gave me the rub. I went from nobody knows anything to like every fight I've had now is like, getting pretty big. So he's getting he's getting these wild knockouts, and they're not getting the views that they deserve, so and I just want people that are getting knockouts and there to fight, because I don't want no easy fights. But I also just really want to get healthy, so I want to do something where I just set that bar high for myself. The Canadian said that he wants to do a boxing defense before he fights me, so I might do an in-between fight, because he wants me to get down to like 210, 190, somewhere in there, because he walks around like 190. So I might fight someone at like 225 at the next Street Beefs or something, depending on how healed I am. I'm trying to stay active.
Is that your current weight now, 225?
Nah, I was 245 for the fight.
Okay. What's the lightest that you've walked around?
Like ever?
Yeah,
so like my
190 be a problem to get to? That's
I'm 23. When I got out of high school, like 18, all the way to like 19, 20, until I had my daughter, I walked around at like 185, 195. But then I ballooned up all the way to like 297. So I kind of fluctuate like crazy. It just depends on, my mind decides what I do and my body follows. So.
And so are you doing anything in particular to lose the weight, to be able to go down to fight in the light heavyweight division?
Yeah, definitely. One thing I got to just stop, me knowing that he has this big weight advantage, I was kind of like, I don't got to not eat this bad food. I mean, I can eat a little bit because the weight might help me, but now I'm just going to be disciplined everywhere. I mean, Shinigami already knows I'll be running, I'll run 2 miles like in 20 minutes. I got the cardio. And I know that it's just going to take me doing that every day, and yeah, I think it comes easy. Another thing that's awesome is Kilo's coach, Brito. He told me, he's like, dude, he's like, come in 5 days a week. He's like, I'll have you 190 in 3 months, easy. And from doing, because I had him do, I did a bunch of personal training sessions with him, and definitely that guy, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to push his fighters and get them where they need to go. So I feel pretty confident I'm going to get there.
You're on mute, Omar. Did you have a question?
And he muted it again.
Okay. So Shinigami, so what's next for you?
I
mean,
think
do champions get to call out their opponents? Do they get to decide who they fight against, or is it just assigned to you? How does that work?
It's generally assigned, although I think I should be allowed to say this, because I mean, it's been announced in both of the groups so far that next year some of us are going to the OG yard, and looks like my next slate here is Christopher Wilmore or Scarface called it a mega fight. Me versus Big Smile in probably March. I figure that, taking a little bit of a break is going to be good for some of the guys, like all the other heavyweights in the division, to get some wins. No offense to Streetbender, but I definitely want to make sure everybody that I fight has at least one on their records. I mean, he was an alternate, so that couldn't be helped. And he definitely was a worthy opponent for sure, But that was one thing kind of in the comment section was like, how's an 0-0 getting a title shot? It's like, well, alternates happen. That's actually that funny story. I mean, nobody brought that up when John Jones got his title. He was an alternate.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So definitely not trying to take anything away from Streetbender, because he was definitely the toughest opponent I've ever fought, and he actually brought it made me have to change a lot of things about my mentality going into that rematch too. Usually I try to just show up and fight, right? Do my thing. This time I kind of had to put myself in like a kill mode mentality, because I didn't want to leave anything on the table. You know what I mean? Like I just, the first fight, I just felt, I'm still mad at myself for how I looked. So that was kind of the thing. I think I beat myself up so much that I just had to change my whole approach to the rematch. And I think that's going to be my approach to all my other fights from now on too. I'll be buddy with you afterwards, but till then it's just, I'm psyching myself up for to live up to the name, Yeah.
I mean, especially being the heavyweight champion, the guy who's on Sports Center, like, it's got to be really difficult to deal with that pressure going into every single fight, because they're going to be expecting so much of you. But I think what can be said about your two fights with Streetbender is that you both pushed each other to be greater, right? And so there was moments where everyone looked mortal. There were moments where everyone had to overcome adversity, and you both did it many, many times over. And so I certainly want to applaud both your efforts for not giving up, because there's plenty of times that when I was looking at the fight, I'm like, oh, Shinigami could have given up right there, or Streetbender could have given up right there, but they didn't. They chose not to. They chose to fight, right? They chose to show and demonstrate their heart. And so I certainly want to applaud you too. And so I would love for you to just kind of give your final reflections on what this battle meant for both of you as you move forward in your careers.
Go ahead, Streetbender. You first.
My mic's like messing up, so
we can hear you. You're clear.
You go real quick, Shinny.
It was definitely a wake up call and a definite real initiation into the world of full contact fighting. It definitely tested me both times, and I know a lot of things I need to work on, and I'm going to work on them. I mean, it's definitely moving forward. It's definitely evolved me as a fighter.
A lot of people say, it's like you got to have heart just to step in there. And I agree with that 100%. But then when you're getting in a war with Shinigami, it's like, it's another level of like, you got to bite down on your mouthpiece and keep going. Something I learned is that your mind really is the strongest thing, like Shinigami said, I didn't even think he rocked me the first fight, until I went back and looked at it, and I went for one of those teep kicks and I hit the thigh, and he went straight down the middle and hit me right on my jaw, and like I fell into the cage. I thought in the fight, I thought I was just I just tripped, so that's why I had that thing of like, okay, I just gotta readjust, get in that good position. But it's like, no, yeah, for sure he rang my bell on that one. So yeah, I feel like the biggest thing I learned is, if you're mentally strong and you the right things you tell yourself on the inside, like that's going to show in a fight.
So Shinigami, can you just give us your thoughts on fighting Big Smile? I mean, that's he is dangerous, especially on the ground. Like, if I know you've seen his fights. I know you've checked him out.
Without giving up my game plan that I'm kind of already working on, formulating.
You already think about the future. I see you.
Got to. If you know who you're fighting, especially somebody like Big Smile, you got to already start thinking of a strategy. I think the fact that the cage is a much bigger cage over there, and I can actually use my footwork better, is going to benefit me. And I definitely know that the cage work's going to be there. I think at watching his fights, and I think one of the reasons they want to make this match is because, you know, he hasn't really fought anybody with grappling skills. And, you know, that's a, you know, grappling and striking at the same time it's a game changer. And if you don't have the grappling skills to prevent those strikes with good clinch work, or if you don't know how to, you know, just counter the grappling with the strikes, you're going to have a bad time. And I think that's where Big Smile has been able to be so successful with all those first round TKOs. I definitely feel like if absolutely nothing else, I'll be able to weather that first round for sure. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I mean, he's definitely going to be probably the toughest opponent I've ever had ever. Then again, who knows? I mean, it was kind of like me, you know, nobody's ever really seen him tested yet. So who knows what could happen?
Well, we appreciate your time, gentlemen. How can they follow your journey and like your content?
I got Streetbender 916 on Instagram, and then I'm gonna start a Streetbender YouTube. I'm definitely gonna start putting a bunch of content on there showing my weight loss journey. You know, I don't really like, from watching Shinigami, I don't really like showing any of my technique, you know, so there probably won't be too much sparring or anything like that, but I'll definitely be showing me putting that work in.
Word. Shinigami?
You can follow me on YouTube at youtube.com/undeadpyro, and on Instagram at Shinigami_the_Reaper MMA. Also on Twitter at the Reaper MMA. Yeah, I mean, I got some more content coming soon. I can't really do what I wanted to do until after the holidays because my jiu-jitsu school is also, you know, temporarily closed just because of holidays. So, but I do have a lot of better content coming than what I've been putting out the last couple of weeks because, you know, fight camp was a priority. But yeah, that's how you can follow me. Make sure you guys follow this guy, man. He deserves it. He deserves all the follows, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on here. Like, it was really an honor. You guys keep doing what you're doing. You guys are great.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate the compliment.
Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard and you like what you saw, please subscribe to our YouTube and turn on notifications. And do not forget, you do not want to miss it. December 27th is an annual Hard in the Fight End of the Year award show, where we'll be crowning this year's winners for Fight of the Year, Male and Female Fighter of the Year, Submission and Knockout of the Year, and the much coveted award, the Hard in the Fight Award for Biggest Heart.
As Omar said, you don't want to miss this. So continue to support us by donating to our Patreon page. Until the next time we see you, dig deep and double down on your own commitments to your life.